So the Atlanta Hawks, in my opinion, had saved their future by trading away Murray. If they had held on to him and started the season yet again around Young and around Murray, well, Murray got hurt at the start of the year. So imagine a team with Trey Young, Hunter, Kongwu, Capella, and nothing else out there for defense. That might have been a huge disaster. And if Murray did get back, well, you're still lacking perimeter defense because Murray and Young are kind of redundant because they both need the ball in their hands to create offense, and neither player plays a lot off the ball. So it was smart for the Atlanta Hawks to move off Murray. You could argue that without the Karl Anthony Towns trade that went down right before the season started, the Atlanta Hawks had the best offseason because you look at the impact that Dyson Daniels has had on this roster. It's beyond obvious. I mean, the guy is probably the best perimeter defender in the NBA. He is a dog out there. If you want to argue that he's not, good luck, but what he does out there in the basketball court, the way he defends, the way he can get up and block a shot. He averages 3 steals a game. He leads the NBA in steals, and he just has a much bigger impact because of his defense. And Atlanta has been missing this on the perimeter side of things because when you have a guy Young and Murray who do the same things, they score the basketball, they need the basketball in their hands to create opportunities for themselves. It becomes very redundant. So bringing in a guy like Dyson Daniels, who doesn't need the basketball, who doesn't need to score a lot of points. Now he's averaging 13 points. I think he's shooting about 30% from three. But let's just say he can get his 3-point shot to like 35%, get his field goal percentage about 48, 50% a game within the next, 2 or 3 seasons because he's only 21 years old. And you've got a piece here who can only get better on offense. But let's just say his ceiling's about 35% from three and 50% from the floor, and his defense is still elite. Well, that's going to be a scary combination next to Okongwu, next to Jalen Johnson. And if Trey Young is still playmaking at a high level where he's averaging 12 assists a night, Atlanta's got a really good team here. And as long as they continue to stay the course, because they might go through some growing pains. Yes, they've won 7 of their past 9 games. I'm not saying they're contender right now, but I see a direction here because Jalen Johnson looks like a bona fide all-star player. I think that will happen by next year. The way he's playing basketball, averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He's got all the makings of an all-star level player. So what you're seeing in Atlanta is there's direction here. There isn't this sense of, okay, we're just at the playing situation. Now, if they end up in the playing game, I don't think they will. I don't think it's a huge loss for them because they're so young as a basketball team and they're trying to change their style of play. I think Quinn Snyder's doing a great job with this roster. And you look at the situation, especially in the game against Milwaukee, they were in that basketball game. Down the stretch, I think it was 103-96 with like 3 minutes left. Milwaukee had a lot of trouble scoring the basketball. Atlanta did not make it easy for them. It was just a slugfest out there because Atlanta's defense is getting better day in and day out. And as long as they continue to build around this young core of Jalen Johnson, you have Trey Young, you have Okongwu, you've got your Ricochet, who's been pretty solid for them as a defender, and he's just a rookie. And of course, Dyson Daniels. All of a sudden, Atlanta's got some athleticism going on. They're young and they're getting experience. So I think it's key for Atlanta to continue to build. And also, if they end up as a top 4 seed in the East, that's huge for them. I think their ceiling is a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference because just their talent, and they've beaten a lot of good teams this year. They've beaten the Bucks, the Cavs, the Celtics. So you can't just gloss over them, act like they're not a real threat to anybody. I don't want to deal with it if I'm a Celtics fan because the way they can cross the glass, they put pressure on you at the rim. And there's a lot of good things that the Atlanta Hawks do on the offensive side and defense side of the ball. So again, I think if the Karl Anthony Towns trade did not happen this offseason, the Atlanta Hawks had the best offseason in the NBA because of what they did by improving their defense with Dyson Daniels. And again, if he can somehow improve his 3-point shot, that's a good sign. Again, another guy, DeAndre Hunter, I forgot about him. He's shooting really well from 3, coming off the bench, and giving him a spark plug. I think the next step from Atlanta is to add a backup point guard to alleviate some of that ball handling of Trey Young and playmaking so he can get some rest, so he can be fresh for the fourth quarter. I thought Trey Young, in the game against Milwaukee, he didn't settle for too many threes. Obviously, want him to shoot better from 3, but, when he's giving you 12 assists a night, you can live with the missed shots because other guys are stepping up. It's just you would like to see your star players shoot the ball better. But I'm going to give Trey Young credit for impacting the game in other ways. That you can't just miss the facts that he's averaging 12 assists a night. That's pretty impressive to me. So I would say the ceiling for Atlanta, like I said, is a top 4 seed in the East. They still need to obviously continue to play good basketball. They've won 7 of 9 games. So they continue to ride this momentum. Obviously, with the injuries going on in Orlando, they got to take full advantage of this schedule going on because Orlando is going to get healthier. Miami, they just lost to Detroit yesterday. They're up and down, so I think they can pass Miami. And then you look at the Bucks. You're not really scared of the Bucks. I know they've been playing good lately, but they haven't played a lot of good basketball teams. So we'll see if they can sustain this level of play. And then the only teams you got to really worry about is the Celtics and the Cavs. You're probably not going to catch them. And the Knicks, I think, will continue to play good basketball, but they're not far behind the Knicks either. So Atlanta's that type of team where, like, okay, and they also beat New York. I don't want to forget about that. They did go to New York last week and beat the Knicks. So they have a lot of good wins. I know they have some early losses against like the Wizards, but I think that won't happen as we continue to progress through the season because they're a young basketball team. They've got some identity going on. So they can go on a run where they continue to win basketball games and they can reach that top, the fifth seed by the All-Star break and go on a massive run after that, you're going to look at a top 4 team in the East. It would not surprise me whatsoever because obviously, again, teams are floundering. The Sixers are unhealthy. They can't seem to get it together. So the Hawks should take full advantage of the situation. And if you get in the playoffs, let's just say you get to the second round, you lose to the Celtics or the Cavs, no shame in that whatsoever. But what you're doing is building the foundation, giving these guys experience in a playoff setting. So the ceiling is the 4th seed, the floor is the play-in tournament. And I just don't see it this year for them because I do believe in this basketball team. I like where they're heading. I like the direction. I like the play of Trae Young playmaking, Jalen Johnson taking that all-star leap. Eventually, he will be an all-star. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be this season, but next season will not surprise me if he's an all-star player because he's getting better as a basketball player. And then Dyson Daniels' defense is continuing to, improve and making things hard on the best player on the offensive side of the ball. So again, without the Cat trade, you can easily argue that the Atlanta Hawks had the best offseason when it comes to trades. And man, if they kept Murray and he was hurt at the beginning of the season, would have been a disaster in Atlanta. So they really dodged a bullet and they did a great job with improving this roster. And now you're seeing the makings of a really good basketball team. And I think they're only going to get better. Atlanta fans, just be patient with it. If they go through some times where they lose games, you scratch your head on to teams are supposed to win. They're a young basketball team. But I think they're learning. They're getting better. Their defense is improving. And this unit is going to take another leap. And it would not surprise me if Atlanta's one of those teams who continues to rise in the rankings and becomes a really good threat, a big threat in the Eastern Conference for years to come. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Dyson Daniels trade and did it save the Hawks' future? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.